Hello and welcome to my 6th video on the introduction to programming using Java. So today we're going to be looking at object-oriented programming, and the idea of these videos is to try and get the information across as quick as possible and then just check your knowledge so you're doing the thinking and you can really cement the information down. So today we're going to be looking at OOP, object-oriented programming. The key points on this video is that OOP, object-oriented programming, is a programming paradigm, which means that it's the way OOP is the way we're going to structure our code in the Java computer language. What this means is that we are going to be using classes as our templates or blueprints, and then in the classes we give each class a property and attributes and methods. So a method is an action, properties and attributes are just values we're going to assign. So what does this mean? Well, if you think of a class as a template, so if we're going to be creating a characters in a game, for example, we have an outline of a figure. What we then do is we have a think, well, what properties are we going to give that man or that character? And what actions can they do? So we're going to say, hey, we're going to give it an attack number. We're going to also give it a defense number, and we're going to give each of those characters a weapon. And then we're going to say these actions that it can do for the character is run or attack. Then using these blueprints, these templates, we can create many objects from that class. So for example, we can create one character that maybe has a sword and has a high attack but low defense. We can create another character that has a weapon but maybe very low defense and low attack. So we can create many objects from the same class. And so that is what you have to think about when you're dealing in an OOP language. Everything is creating these classes so we can create these objects. OOP gives us a number of advantages, which we will talk about in our later videos. Okay, let's look at some real code now. So we have a class here. I would like you to stop the video and see if you can answer the questions related to that class. So hopefully you've stopped the video. Let's go through them. So what do you think this class will be used for, and how did you come up with that answer? Well, if we look at the name of the class, character, this should give you an indication. So usually you want to name a class that indicates its purpose. You can then have a look at the attributes here, and you can have a look at the method names. And from that information, you can assume or guess what kind of class this will create, or what kind of object this will create. So this will most likely be a character in a game. It may be a enemy, or it may be a parent where you could create loads of different types of characters. But if I had to guess, that's what I would guess. And that's why I think the OOP is one of the advantages of OOP is the way that you can kind of figure out what's going on. You can abstract the information without actually even knowing what the code does. So for example, here there could be tons of code, but we don't even need to think about that when we're looking at the class. We're getting a lot of information that is not really even related too much to the code. So what are the attributes of the class? Well, the attributes here are here. So what we've done is we've declared these attributes, but we haven't really assigned them a value. So maybe in one of the methods down here, we would actually give a value to these. However, these are the attributes. So we know we have a variable of strength to this character, a variable of defense to this character, and a string, a text of weapons to this character. How many methods does this class have? Well, it has 2 methods. It has the attack method and it has the runaway method. What 2 things do we know about this method signature? Well, we know that it is a public, the access modifier is public, which means we can call this method from anywhere. So once the object is created, we can call it. Second thing, so both of them are public. Second thing is the first one has a return type of int, so it's expecting to return a number. This one, void, means that it's not expecting anything to return. Lastly, we have some values that if this method is called, you have to give it a number. So you have to give it a number when it's called. Okay, so hopefully you've got all those questions right. Let's look at whether you can recall all the important information from this video. Okay, so if you can answer this question, I think you have a good understanding of the information. So if you can tell me what the two things are that you can add to a class, brilliant. Even better, so I've already talked about one advantage here. Can you explain another advantage to make it two? Think about that axis modifier and think of what we can change that to. Lastly, if you're able to do this, please leave it in the comments, because this shows you have a brilliant understanding of the class and OOP. So if you would like to continue learning with me about Java, please subscribe to the channel and like. And I'll see you next video.